Previously on the Rod Pedersen Show.
But to the viewer from Toronto who says, what's the most intense game you've ever been involved in? Viewers obviously watching on the Game Plus TV network.
Yeah.
Listen, man, I don't think you, or ma'am, I've needed police escorts out of facilities. I've needed police escorts out of cities. So you're going to need to define intense. I assume you mean on the playing field. I've been threatened in many facilities across this country, all because of my own actions. But was there a game more intense for you than the 2007 Grey Cup?
I think the Grey Cups in general, like I say 09 and 10 were big time Grey Cups too for me as far as intensity. But if you get away from the Grey Cups, I would say that rematch against Montreal,
Canada Day comeback.
Yeah, that 50, what was it, 51, 54, or 50, whatever. With 50 something to 50. That was just back and forth. We
Triple
were down
overtime, wasn't it?
Yeah, we were down 3. We had another 13-man penalty that almost ruined the game for Saskatchewan again. Had great catches left and right. Everybody was, it was just, if you weren't a CFL fan and you watched that game, you would have been a CFL fan after that. That was the best, probably the best CFL game I've ever seen, been a part of. And it was intense. After we closed the gap before half, that second half was the most intense thing ever.
Get ready for the Rod Pedersen Show.
Is that your boat?
Nah, working on it. That's not mine. It's a friend's.
You have a bigger boat than that, huh? Let me come down and ride around on the boat with you. We could broadcast from the boat. You could do your show, I could do my show, and really there would be no reason for me to leave.
How about that?
Was that your boat in the clip? Are you doing your show from that?
You're the second guy to ask that today. I think that's not, but we're working on it.
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
Yes. Yes, it is. Welcome, everybody, to Canada's #1 daytime sports talk show, coming your way on the Game Plus television network, also airing in 32 states. And that includes New Jersey. And you folks in the Garden State, just hang on. You're going to be very excited because we got your boy here. Yeah, it's game day. And we're going to be talking a lot of Canada, USA tonight on the Four Nations Face-Off. But I also want to say a couple big things. The general manager of the BC Lions will be with us in hour 2. Ryan Rigmaiden, I'm very excited to interview him, and we got a very big baseball tidbit drop this morning that I want to discuss. I'll probably get around to that. To Jersey Jim Behringer joins us from NHL Full Press, and ladies and gentlemen, he is live at TD Garden, the site of tonight's championship final of the Four Nations Face-Off. And Jimmy, I appreciate the time. Thanks for dropping in with us. You're live on the scene. You're going to be with us for 35 minutes. So let me just read. Guys, can you hit the quick 6 show horn? And we'll start off like we normally do. It's all hockey. Come on. 2 arch rivals are set to battle tonight in the Four Nations Face-Off final. Canada will look to avenge its loss from Saturday in Montreal when it takes on the United States in Boston. The Americans won the first matchup 3-1 in the preliminary round, with 3 fights taking place in the first 9 seconds of that game. Jimmy, go. What do you expect tonight, man? Jersey Jim's there in Boston. What are you expecting, man? Go.
Rod, first off, thanks for having me on, as always, here. TD Garden, man, it feels like a Game 7, right? Like Game 7 Stanley Cup final last year in Florida. That's what all the players are talking about. Biggest game of their life, biggest game they've ever played in. 10 years of international hockey. We've been waiting for this game. We've been waiting for this game since 2014, 2010. You and I have gone back and forth with that. Players know what it means to represent your country. They expect the same intensity, the same fire. I don't know about the same start. I don't know if you can have the same start. But there's going to be message sending early because of what happened in Montreal on Saturday night. The Canadian boys are ready. They wanted this game. I mean, Sam Bennett, Florida Panther, he said it after the loss on Saturday night. We want these guys again. Connor McDavid said, this thing's far from over. And this is the matchup everybody wanted. This has done so much for hockey. since Saturday night. It's been so wonderful to watch and be here. I cannot wait for this game tonight.
Well, this is what's exciting about having your perspective, my perspective, and what's cool about this show is we bring in everybody else's perspective. We're the most interactive show in terms of going back with the viewers. I have a full list of things to get to with you, Jim. So let's take a sip, take a breath, okay? Let's just talk about this tournament because, number one, I want people to understand that, of course, everybody in Canada is talking about it. And you were there, right, Jim? You were up in Montreal?
Mm-hmm.
Correct?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes, I was.
And it was cold there, cold in Boston. But who cares? It's a hockey tournament. It's supposed to be cold. But all of Canada's going nuts. I think people need to understand that America is too. People are sending me clips of Rich Eisen's talking about on an NFL network. People are laughing at the NBA, why they would pick this week to do their NBA All-Star weekend. Well, guess what? They don't think about the NHL. They don't think about anybody but themselves. But this has gripped America too. Can you talk about that? Because that is saying something, Jim.
Yeah, so it's got to feel, I said it, and again, I don't want to get into all the other stuff, but, eventually we may have to. But it's got that feel of 1980, again, when the Soviets and Team USA played at Lake Placid, of when everything's going outside. But, everything from the anthem in Montreal. But the fact that the NFL, NBA, former players in both of those sports, guys that cover UFC, all those guys are talking about the National Hockey League, saying the NHL got it right. Dan Patrick Show, ESPN in the morning, Get Up is talking about it. That has done so much for hockey since Saturday. The fact that they're talking about this game, these rivalries, Canada, USA, what happened. Yeah, it helps you have 3 fights in 9 seconds. I mean, just because, that was a great start. But the game itself was really good Saturday night, too, despite what some, it was only 2-1 hockey game. It was still a good game because Canada had chances to win the game. And the fact is now it's reversed. Canada comes into, TD Garden, the villain. They're the away team. Team USA is the home team. They want to win this thing. Matthew Tkachuk saying it's our time. Well, there's Captain Clutch, Sidney Crosby, Connor McDavid, and Nathan McKinnon going to say it's your time yet? Yeah, you won on Saturday night. You won in 2010, too, in the round-robin game. And you didn't win when it matters, and I understand it was an overtime goal, and I get that. Well, is it your time? Because you need to go win the game to say it's your time. You've done it every other level. This men's national team wants to win.
Not that anybody in Canada cares how much they're picking up with the interest in the U.S., but I'll say this. Right after this show today, I'm going on the New York Post website, I guess. Brandon London, the former Giants receiver, is their digital content provider. He's going to interview me for the New York Post. So, dun, 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 dun. You know what they say, Jimmy? If you make it there, you can make it anywhere. So the New York Post.
That's exactly
right.
right.
Not ask, is there nobody better than me? But if Brandon London's a football guy, I think the only hockey guy that he knew was me. So I'm like, okay, yeah, let's do it. So the New York Post is on this. Everybody's on this. Now, listen, I don't want to talk about the political climate either, but Bentley writes in. Bentley Belitsky. He says, hey, Rod, here's my Saskatchewan boy outlook on the game. What similarities do January 6th, 21, and the last Canada-USA game have? They were both incited by Trump's ridiculous rhetoric. Put aside your left or right political beliefs, but they were both incited by him, and he claims innocence. Just my humble opinion, signed Bentley. You were there, because I've covered a lot of big events. I've been involved, broadcast big events. I'm very tight with the players. I feel like they're always shielded from anything going on outside the stadium, the arena, the hotel. They don't think about this stuff. How does it relate to this game and this tournament? Everything else?
Yeah, I mean, look, you know what the president has said here in the United States about Canada, and I feel for my friends up north, and I understand their anger, and I get it, and I understand why, the Canadians were booing the anthem. Did I like it? No. My dad, military guy, I stand for the flag and all that stuff, but that's a different discussion for a different day. I understand everything, but the fact of the matter is it's become more than a hockey game, despite what some of the players think. They understand it. They will not say they used what happened Saturday night as motivation, but you know as a player you do. They get the circumstances around everything, but it is a hockey game. But to quote the great Al Michaels, some people don't know the blue line from a clothesline. And that was his opening line in the 1980 game. And it feels like the same thing. Like I'm completely honest. Like, but it just feels like it is a big game. And right, but I know 2010 is gold medal and everything. Yes, everybody could say meaningless game and all that stuff. These guys are playing for pride. The intensity is so high. They were excited for this thing. A lot of people didn't understand, like, what the excitement was going to be. Was it just going to be an all-star game? John Cooper said it yesterday. This isn't an all-star game, guys. They're all-stars here. They're playing like it's the Stanley Cup final, if not higher. And that's been the sentiment since before the tournament even started. And all the games have been good, and I expect the game tonight to be really good.
Jim Behringer with us, Jersey Jim from NHL Full Press. I'll get to, listen, Jim's with us in hour one, BC Lions GM in hour two, and there's going to be a lot of just me and you, the viewer, so we'll get to most of your comments a little later on when it's just me. Jim's been good enough to spend 2 segments with us here on game day, so that's cool. So let's actually, if you don't mind, talk about the game. Other than I'll say this morning on Instagram, the NHL said key highlights from the Four Nations face-off leading up to tonight. And it was highlights of the fights. I'm like, Jim, they never used to do that. As a matter of fact, it was an edict not to do that. I know that for a fact. They didn't want to highlight the fights. They told their rights holders to not put the fights in the videos of their highlight pick. And now they are? What the hell? Are we going back? Yeah, do you know anything about that? I mean, I'm all for it. Let's clarify. I'm all for it. But I thought it was a no-no.
No, I mean, it feels like this is what the highlights are. Anywhere you see, look on ESPN, you look on NHL.com, you look anywhere, right? You see, and all over social media, right? It's all been the 9 seconds of Brady, Matthew, JT Miller, Hagel, all those guys fighting. Like, that's been the storyline out of that game. Oh, what do you expect? Do you expect the same start? Like, what's going to happen? Like, the talk's been, and nothing can top it. Well, maybe you have a line brawl. Well, do guys really want to do that in a championship game? Like, I mean, Saturday night was one thing. Playing for a championship and a trophy in a one-off tournament that may never happen again is something different. I know you want to set a tone, right? Do I expect a fight or two? Probably. I think it's going to happen. Do I expect it in the first 3 seconds? Probably not. But then again, I didn't expect it Saturday night, and there we are, 3 fights. It's going to be a good game. These players know each other so well from playing in their teams, their respective teams. They played against each other already. And you being a football guy know this as much as me being a sports guy as well. It is so difficult to be a team twice in one season, let alone twice in less than a week.
2010 gold medal game in the round robin, Canada lost to the USA. So, that's the thing. We should talk about tonight's game and that. I want to say this, though. And that's funny you mentioned me being a football guy. I think you as a hockey guy, you play hockey, you know it. We went in to do our Cats and Bolts podcast yesterday in a studio here in Boca Raton, Florida. And the show before us were a couple of Italian, New York guys. They don't talk sports at all on their show, but they're all excited about this game. And I said, what do you think is going to happen, guys? And they're like, well, there was 3 fights last Saturday in a round robin game, so there's got to be at least 10 tonight in the championship game. I'm like, what? The only way there would even be one is if emotion got the best of a couple guys in the corner, which even then, it's so rare. I guess my point is, I don't expect not only no fights, I expect no fights, but hardly any penalties. I expect zoom, up and down the ice. I expect a low-scoring game. That's what I expect. And to be honest, I got Canada winning probably 3-2. 2-1 wouldn't surprise me either. But what do you expect tonight?
Look, I said Saturday night, I said the final score would be 3-2. We were guessing over-unders and everything. I said I would only expect 5 goals in a game. I was off by 1. It was a 3-1 hockey game. Realistically, it was a 2-1 hockey game with an empty net. I expect the same thing. I don't expect this to be a high-scoring game. The way the last game was played, the way the 2 coaches, John Cooper and Mike Sullivan, are talking, middle of the ice, win the neutral zone, win your puck battles, don't make mistakes, be smart with the puck. it is the biggest game a lot of these guys have ever played, especially on Team USA's side. Let's be honest. Like, a lot of guys have never seen this stage, and you have two good goaltenders, right? Connor Hellebuck is one of the best goalies, if not the best goalie in the world right now. Plays for the Winnipeg Jets. Jordan Binnington had success in this building. Don't forget, he literally stood on his head in the first period of Game 7 of the 2019 Stanley Cup Final before Ryan O'Reilly scored to make it 1-0, and then the St. Louis Blues went on to win, I believe 3-0 was the final score. It might have been higher, but the fact is Binnington knows how to play in this building. A lot of guys know how to step up in the big moments. I expect this to be a very low-scoring, tight-checking, fast game like it was Saturday night, and I expect the referees to put away the whistles, unless it's very, very egregious.
It's funny. Let me read from a couple of the the viewers. Bill in Regina writes in. He says, "Good morning, crew. Great day to be a Canadian. Go Canada, go." B. Henderson in Winnipeg says, "Hockey Canada has been slaying dragons since 1972. 2025 is no exception." Brett writes in and he says, "We're all just lucky to be around for this game. Legends in the game playing with pride on the line." It's interesting he says that. We'll all remember where we were, no doubt, watching this game tonight. You're going to be there at the game watching it. But the historical perspective, because I was listening to Scott Lockton this morning on NHL radio. He was interviewing, I can't remember who, because he's interviewing a bunch of guys. But he was like, Canada, the USA has not beat Canada in best on best in 25 years or whatever. And I'm like, it's a little confusing if you didn't really follow hockey. Because the World Juniors, the USA's won the last 2 and 3 of the last 4. That's best on best junior. You know what I mean? And I guess he was referring to 96 in the World Cup, but it gets really murky between Olympics and this, Canada Cups, World Juniors. Do you know what I mean? Like, the history part of it would be confusing if you haven't really been following it for 50 years like we have,
Yeah, no, exactly. Like, that's what I said earlier off the top. I said the men's national team has not won since 1996 on a big stage. You want to say it's your time? You have to go win tonight to say it's your time. The junior team has done it multiple times. The women's team has won gold medals against Canada on the biggest stage at the Olympics, World Championships. Yeah. But the men's national team has not won a game against Canada since 1996 in a big, big game. Now, the game Saturday did a lot for hockey in the States. Don't get me wrong. More people could be playing, all that stuff. But you want to go announce it's your time, you have to win tonight. That's just me.
And that's what they're saying. And I love the quotes. Like Mike Sullivan, I read the article this morning, the coach of USA, said 1980 got me on board as a just a hockey guy. And obviously would be a U.S. hockey guy. And he's like, now our guys want to be the next Mike Eruzionis and the next Jim Craigs. That's what they feel is at stake here. And actually, when we come back, we'll continue a little more about this, because I haven't heard a lot from the Canadians about the history side of it, other than maybe does it even need to be said? If Canada wins tonight, how much more of a hero is Sidney Crosby going to be? But it's very big for Connor McDavid, right? So we'll break down the game and a lot more. We got BC Lions GM Ryan Rigmaiden coming up in hour 2. We'll take a time out here. Jimmy's with us for one more segment. He's live from TD Garden in Boston, the site of tonight's Four Nations Face-Off Championship Final. We'll be right back on the Game Plus television network, streaming live and podcasting wherever the best podcasts.
Sounds like he knows what he's doing a little bit. As long as you're entertained. Aren't you entertained?
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Canada's premier Junior A Hockey League deserves premier coverage, and at IKS Media, we have you covered for all things SJHL. SJHL Weekly on Monday, a live broadcast across our social media platforms where we interview your favorite players and coaches from across the league and preview the upcoming week. And on Thursday, SJHL Insider, where we look ahead to the weekend that will be and cover everything going on across the league. Catch it all on our social media platforms or on sjhl.ca.
Did you know that you can help save a life? And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients, yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
Welcome to the Create Space at IKS Media. Meetings, podcasts, studio. Whether you're here to collaborate or educate, our versatile meeting places, workspaces, and studios await. Your next big idea starts here. Make our space your space. The Create Space at IKS.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Doesn't that just scream hockey weather? And by the way, it may take weeks, months, or even years to get the call to be a stem cell donor. Saving lives takes commitment and dedication, just like being a hockey player. Give hope to patients in Canada. Register online at blood.ca/getswiped and spread the word amongst your family and friends. And Hour 1 is brought to you by Culligan Water. What do us and the Chicago Blackhawks have in common? We're both sponsored by Culligan Water. Drink clean, live green, filter your water for a healthier tomorrow. Culligan Water of Regina. Visit CulliganRegina.com. Jersey Jim Behringer is with us from NHL Full Press. He is at TD Garden in Boston, where tonight Canada will take on USA in the Four Nations Face-Off Championship Final. By the way, I had a CFL coach sent me a picture from his television of us on TV. He's like, hey, way to go, bro. You're on TV in Calgary. So, Jim, say hi to all your adoring fans in Calgary. And, of course, we're also on in
Hi,
New
fans
Jersey.
in Calgary.
Yeah, I'm sure your family, friends and family watching in New Jersey too, because they always do, right? You were at the morning skates. Can you give our viewers an update of what you saw this morning of USA and Team Canada?
Yeah, so Brady Tkachuk was on the ice for Team USA this morning, skating. Looked like he was back with his, regular line mates. Obviously, Matthew Tkachuk wasn't there. Austin Matthews, no Jack Eichel as well. Optional skate for Team USA. Final decisions on the lineup won't come until later. There'll be game time decisions. Everybody, according to Mike Sullivan, is healthy outside of Charlie McAvoy, who's out of the tournament. But I did see both the players are up from Tage Thompson and Brett Pesce. Not sure if they'll get in the lineup. Most likely not. But if everybody else is healthy, but we'll find out come game time if who does come out of the lineup for Team USA. Looks like for Team Canada, Seth Jarvis is back in for Travis Konechny. And, you know, Brad Marchand was talking. I was seeing some stuff. They were talking about how it is a bigger than a game. You know, they're ready to go. And John Cooper said experience matters when he was asked about, you know, guys having 14 cup winners on your team. You know, a great analogy. I just saw the quote about taking a driving test. Like, when you take it at 16, 17, and then you become an experienced driver. Experience matters, right? Never go back to I forget what the quote was. I remember I was thinking, I think it's 02 Stanley Cup final between Detroit and Carolina. It goes to triple overtime. Detroit ends up winning the game. I forget who said it, but I'd rather be old and slow than young and dumb. I forget who the quote was. It was definitely a Detroit player. It might have been Igor Larionov, the professor.
Yeah.
But that was just stuck out to me. It's right. Experience matters in this thing, right? You have cup winners on this team. You have guys that have done things in big moments. Team USA has guys, but they don't have those guys, right? I mean, Jake Getzel's one of those guys. I think he's a big-time player in a big-time moment. Their defense has been playing really well. You have Connor Hellebuck. But I was talking with some guys yesterday. We're saying, okay, pressure, Matthews, pressure's on Marner, Hellebuck. Does it make him a choker if he doesn't, you know, win? I'm like, yeah, it's a big game. Yeah, it matters for pride. But it's the Stanley Cup final and the Stanley Cup playoffs where we judge a lot of these guys. But these guys do need to step up because I think, personally, as playing the game, a moment like this can carry over into your rest of your season.
Our poll question today for EMJ Marketing, I can't believe it's taken us this long to get to it. And by the way, contact EMJ Marketing. They'll provide the perfect keynote speaker for your event, emjmarketing.com. You can peruse the roster, then look up Joe. The poll question is, who will be the MVP of the Four Nations face-off? And our team here on this show came up with the options of Sidney Crosby, Connor Hellebuck, Matthew Tkachuk, or other. And the last I looked, 67% were voting for other. I guess there's no slam dunk yet. It's going to depend on tonight, right, Jimmy?
Yeah, I think it's definitely a slam dunk. I mean, you can look at the points leaders. I mean, Zach Werenski's had a great tournament for Team USA. You know, Crosby's played well. Nathan McKinnon's name's up there as well. I would be shocked if he has a big game. Connor McDavid has a big game. He could get it. I think, again, if Connor Hellebuck stands on his head, I don't see why not. You're giving it to him. I mean, he has been the best goaltender, and he's been a big reason why Team USA is where it is. And the Winnipeg Jets are where they are in the standings. Like, let's not forget that he does that for Winnipeg all the time, and everybody's seeing it firsthand. So, yeah, I would not be shocked if one of the big names step up. But I will say this, in this type of game, yeah, we know what Crosby did in Golden Goal. But we all know in the junior side of everything, sometimes there's an unsung hero that comes out of nowhere that you don't expect is going to score the game-winning goal. That could happen in tonight's game.
I would say, how important is the first goal? They were talking about that on NHL radio this morning. I think all the goals are important, okay? Canada scored the first goal against the U.S. on the week on Saturday. Didn't mean a damn thing, but has there been much talk about that?
No, not really. I think because everybody expects, like, whoever scores first. I think that there's so much firepower on the other end that you can score early enough. I think the bigger talk is if, you know, Canada scores, does Jordan Binnington give up like another leaky one like he did to Jake Getzel? Like, I think that's been a lot of the talk, like the soft goal. Like, can Canada overcome another soft goal in a big moment by Jordan Binnington? Like, I think that's like the big thing. Because, yeah, the Getzel goal was, you know, changed the game. But let's not forget, Charlie McAvoy also had a hit on Connor McDavid that also changed that game too. And Charlie McAvoy is not playing. Jake Sanderson's in the lineup, and, you know, he's just as good a defenseman. So the physicality of this game is going to determine a lot. And, yeah, you can take away the neutral zone, but you can't do that for 45 minutes and just sit back against these best players in the world. I think Canada's going to adjust because they passed up a lot of shooting opportunities in game one. I mean, they were overpassing way too much. And I think that's a big thing that they're going to change. I think they're going to want to shoot the puck more, get traffic in front of Connor Hellebuck. The guys that, you know, try to make the USD, you know, get pressure on them, use their speed. Because when Connor McDavid is flying, Nate McKinnon's flying, and now they have Cale Makar on the back end, I mean, that's just a tough lineup right there, especially when those three are out on the ice at the same time potentially. Ooh, like, it's a very, very tough lineup. But again, you have to look at the goaltending on the other side. Like, some weak goals, some not so great goals, but again, pressure and the confidence is building for Jordan Binnington because his coach has just stuck with him throughout this entire tournament like he said he would.
Yep. And that's why I say John Cooper is the greatest coach on God's green earth, because he picks his people and he sticks with them and he supports them. And just so you know, folks, people like that. Okay, 27 minutes on one hockey game. I think we've covered it all. I got a couple of little things. Well, a couple of last questions on this. What do you think the crowd makeup will be tonight? I've heard people say it's going to be mostly Bostonians, which would make sense because it's in Boston. But there's also a lot of people traveling. So what's your sense on that?
I definitely think there's going to be a Canadian presence here at TD Garden here tonight. I really, really do. I think it will be loud on both sides. I expect more USA chants. I expect some things that I hope don't happen, but my guess is they will. But yeah, I think it's going to be maybe like 70-30 in favor of Team USA. I definitely think there's going to be a Canadian presence.
Will it be a little anticlimactic to go back to covering the New Jersey Devils after this, Jimmy, after the emotion and all the rest? Or are you going to be happy to get back on the normal beat?
It'll be fun. Definitely be fun. The intensity will definitely be lower, but for sure it's going to be fun. But the games still matter down the stretch for New Jersey too, right? They got a battle for second place, potentially home ice. But again, the intensity level from where we're at tonight to where it is come Saturday is going to be different.
Okay, just completely, totally off topic. And I'm just asking you this because I respect your opinion. I don't know how big of a baseball guy you are, but as you've known, I've gotten into it. It wasn't even my choice. They pulled me in. But today, they are using in spring training games robotic umpires. And the term is automated balls and strikes. And I just want to ask you, because New York is such a big baseball town, how do you feel about robotic umpires? And I'll go first and say, I'm all for it. I am. But how about you?
I'm on the other side of it. I like umpires. I don't. The strike zone. So I like the judgment of it, the human error of it. I know we argue. I like to see that part of the game. I know you can get it down to a T, but the problem is like you get trends of different umpires, what their strike zone is. That's for me. That's how I grew up watching baseball. But again, I kind of, when you cover an NHL for as long as you do into June, then you go to baseball, it's like, okay, how come the pace is so slow? But I'm still a Yankee fan, still watch the Yankees, still critical of their team and what they've done. Just not a fan of robotic umpires, but we'll see what happens in spring training if that actually comes to full-time Major League Baseball.
Well, I'm just tipping that off to our viewers. That's what we're going to be talking about. There'll be a theme for the next 30 minutes. It's not going to be everything. Because, if it starts in baseball and it works, it's going to filter over to the other leagues. It's going to.
Yeah.
Right? And it's going to cost jobs and all the rest. So this is not a black and white yes or no situation. But I'm still going to tell you I'm in favor of it because I'm tired of the flipping bitching. Okay? I know what you're saying. It's all fun. Billy Martin kicking the dust up at home plate. And, God. Well, that's going to be gone, too, which Jimmy just said. And the other thing, Jets and Giants, in the history of New York football, has it ever been worse than it is right now? At the same time.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. Usually one's good, the other's not good. They both stink at the same time, and they're not really good. And the Giants need a quarterback. The Jets need a quarterback. Coaching, not great. GMs are not great. John Mara is not getting any sleep right now because Saquon Barkley won the Super Bowl. But shame on him for not overstepping his GM and signing him and keeping him on the team. You had every right to do it, and you didn't do it. And now he's in Philadelphia and could win more Super Bowls as a Philadelphia Eagle. And the guy wanted to stay. And the Jets are a mess. The Giants are a mess. And do we know what they're going to do with their quarterback situation? Probably not. They'll probably draft a quarterback and, screw that up too.
I know. I feel bad for you, but at least we've got hockey. Jim, any last words before we let you go? I think we covered it all.
We covered it all, guys. Enjoy the game tonight. It's going to be a fun one. Live TD Garden, Team USA, and Canada should be an enjoyable game. watch it. I'll be there, live coverage as always, getting you ready for it. And yeah, always a pleasure to be on the show for you, live hit for you, and do anything for you, Roddy. You're the best.
Same to you, buddy. Same to you. Thanks for the time. You enjoy it for all it's worth, Jim. This is a lifetime moment. I know you know that. I'm just reiterating it.
Thank you so much. I can't wait for the game tonight and enjoying every minute of it.
Good. Thanks, pal. Jersey Jim Behringer from NHL Full Press. Hang on. Since we got time in this break, I'm going to do the sports update now. And then, lucky you. It's like the teacher saying, we're going to do show and tell the rest of the day, class. Just you and me until the top of the hour on questions and comments. Heavy Jim sports update. The Scotties Tournament of Hearts round robin wraps up today in Thunder Bay, Ontario. With plenty at stake in Pool B, Ontario's Danielle Inglis at 5-1 and Quebec's Laurie St. George at 5-2 lead the group, while Manitoba's Carrie Anderson and Nova Scotia's Christina Black both remain in the hunt at 4-2. The top three teams from the 2 9-team pools advance. This is what I was talking about with Jim. A computerized system that calls balls and strikes is being tested during MLB spring training exhibition games today. And starting today, moving forth, after 4 years of experiments in the minors. Baseball Commissioner Rob Manfred is an advocate of the automated ball strike system, which potentially as early as 2026 could be used to aid MLB home plate umpires, but not replace them. Starting in 2024, MLB focused testing on a challenge system in which the human umpire makes each original call. Data from the spring training test could cause MLB to make alterations to the system for AAA games this season. The sports update is for Heavy Gym. Heavy Gym isn't just about lifting weights. It's about lifting your spirit, your strength, and your potential. Step into the gym that's changing lives. Find out more at heavygym.ca. You and me, the rest of the way to the top of the hour. BC Lions General Manager Ryan Rigmaiden coming in hour 2, live from Vancouver. So we got a big show today. We'll be right back here on Game Plus TV, streaming live and podcasting wherever the best podcasts are found.
The live sports experience is changing. Teams and facilities are under pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. IKS Live has the right team to deliver. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience, in the seats or streaming to you. IKS Live continues to bring you the best seat in the house.
Canada's premier Junior A Hockey League deserves premier coverage, and at IKS Media, we have you covered for all things SJHL. SJHL Weekly on Monday, a live broadcast across our social media platforms where we interview your favorite players and coaches from across the league and preview the upcoming week. And on Thursday, SJHL Insider, where we look ahead to the weekend that will be and cover everything going on across the league. Catch it all on our social media platforms or on sjhl.ca.
Hi, my name's Logan Stankoven. And I'm Connor Bedard. We're both Hockey Gives Blood player ambassadors and proud to be blood donors. There are thousands of patients each year in Canada that rely on a generous stranger to save their life. Please book an appointment today to donate blood at blood.ca/HGB.
Welcome to the Create Space at IKS Media. Meetings, podcasts, studio. Whether you're here to collaborate or educate, our versatile meeting places, workspaces, and studios await. Your next big idea starts here. Make our space your space. The Create Space at IKS.
From cash spiels to grand slams, club competitions to world championships, there's a lot to keep up with on the pebbled ice. Stay up to date with the Hardline Curling Show, your weekly source for everything curling, with the latest event results, breaking news, interviews with players, executives, and insiders. Plus, behind-the-scenes access you won't get anywhere else. Follow us on Facebook, X, Instagram, and subscribe to our YouTube. Make sure you don't miss a thing.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
All right. Not like it wasn't fun before, but it's going to continue to be fun and maybe even more fun. Yeah, we're down here in Florida getting ready for a big hockey game tonight. Sports fans, join the Rod Squad newsletter, by the way. Stay ahead of the game with exclusive insights, updates, contests, and exclusive content delivered straight to your inbox. Best of all, it's free. Sign up today at rodpeterson.com. It's just the way some people were bitching. They're like, oh, wait, I have to go to your website to sign up for your newsletter, to read your column. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, bro. You've had it one way for 20 years. Just asking you one thing. Just sign up for the newsletter. It would help us out a lot. Were you not getting your money's worth here? Oh, and by the way, transform your audience with powerful presentations from EMJ Marketing's elite speakers. Check out their website for more information, emjmarketing.com. I can just go with my personal phone if you wish. I got a lot of comments from the viewers here too, but I'm not going to say whom. Chris from the Bronx. He's texted me and says, between you and me, who are you rooting for tonight? Right here. Yeah, it's not a secret. And I put it in my South Florida Tribune column, which is in today's paper here. I said I picked Canada going in. Said I was cheering for Canada going in. That's not changing. You're here today watching because you know me. I don't flip-flop. Never have. And then Evan Hammond wrote me. He's the voice of the Port Alberni, the Bulldogs. You know what it is, Clark? Port Alberni's team in the BCJ? Port Alberni, whatever it is. I think it's the Bulldogs. He says, good for you for not forgetting your roots. I'm like, the one thing I like about citizenship in Canada, if you're born in Canada, you're always a Canadian citizen. They don't ever take it away. Works different in America. I will always, always, always cheer for Canada, which initially I thought, oh boy, should I? Because I live here, but I'm like, wait a minute. Sam Bennett is playing for Team Canada of the Panthers. Sam Reinhart of the Panthers is playing for Team Canada. Pretty sure they're cheering for Canada. Cheer for who I want. So far, nobody's had a problem with it. Jersey Jim writes, great stuff today as always. What should I say back to Jersey Jim? Thanks so much, brah. Enjoy the game. He's such a good guy. Give him a follow at NHL Full Press or Jim Behringer on Twitter. And then from that CFL coach who just discovered us on television today, sent me a picture of us on his screen. Beep. There's the TV grid. He says, you're kicking butt down there. Keep up the good work. Thank you, Coach, if you're watching. And you are too. And that reminds me, I just sidestep this hockey for a second, which said no one ever. But on this balls and strikes thing, Clark, yes or no? Are you in favor of automated robotic umpires or not? Are you there, Clark? Yeah. He's pulling a DuPont. He says he's on the fence. He's saying no. It's too bad that we don't have cameras set up on Clark. You know I've asked for it, Clark. It's where we could ask him these questions live. Listen, dude, I get it. What are the reasons not to? Because it's going to cost jobs. It's going to fiddle with tradition and all that. But when I spent last summer in the Western Canadian Baseball League, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to do this summer again, I just got so tired of the complaining from the managers and the players and the fans about calls and balls and strikes. And shoot, there was a missed call in the championship game, Moose Jaw against Okotoks, that I was talking to the skipper the other day, Eric Marriott, and I said, did you ever get that sorted out? He goes, no, still haven't got an answer. Human error. So while I've been listening to the complaining my whole life, being around sports people, and trust me, I can complain as well as anybody, too, about other things. I said once, why don't we just bring in robotic umpires and forget it? And it was a player that actually said to me, we don't want to take out the human element. Then stop bitching. And that's where I say it's not just about baseball, because in as high up as the NFL, the number one league on our continent, they screw up calls upon video review. Because why? Because you have humans making the call. I don't blame the guy in the field for making a mistake. It's happening bang, bang, so fast, different angles. But I don't blame the guy in the field, the ref, the ump, you name it. But when you are in a little booth like this and you got 37 angles all in HD and super slow-mo and you still screw it up, you got some splaining to do, Lucy. And that's where the NFL brought it all upon themselves and were forced to defend themselves during Super Bowl week that they weren't favoring the Chiefs because all of the video showed that you were. You wouldn't have to do that if it was automated. Just saying. And I was having lunch with Johnny O last week from Johnny O's Gymnasium. You've seen him on this show. The man is going to be 65 in a month. Just ripped, man. Looks like Hulk Hogan. And he's like, what the hell were we talking about all this? Oh, jobs. He's like, Rod, jobs. AI's taking all the jobs. Nobody's going to have a job anymore. Well, that's why you got to find a job that you can't put a robot in this chair. Well, some shows do, but you don't watch those. Or as they say, you can feed the stats to the computer, but the computer can't write the story. Well, now it can. But can the computer make it entertaining? Probably not. So I'm saying it's happening anyways. I had a group last night of guys called me up and said, let's go for supper. So I did. And, oh, man, are we really going down the rabbit hole on something here that you didn't ask for? We were talking about the way things are. And here's the thing. We can sit and complain about the way things are, but they are not changing. So I guess the point is I could bitch about how things have changed in this industry, or as a clinical psychotherapist was complaining to me last week here in Boca Raton, how it's changed in that industry, mental health and addiction, but it is what it is. So if we have the ability to go to robotic umpires and it'll stop the bitching and get the calls right, isn't that what you want? Why wouldn't we do it? Clark, that's the poll tomorrow. Don't let me forget.
Bingo! Hell yes.
The poll will be, should MLB, and let's just throw in WCBL for spits and giggles, go to robotic umpires. Right here, it's a vote for yes. Regarding the hockey game tonight, Freddie in Winnipeg writes in, he says, hey, RP show, from the words of Hawkeye from MASH about tonight's Four Nations Royal Rumble. My belly button has been puckering and unpuckering all day.
How about
Enjoy another intense, historic game, everyone. I'm telling you something. My phone blew up after the show yesterday when we talked just a smidge about junior hockey. And I don't know what it is. I haven't been able to put my finger on it yet. I feel like if we sat here and talked junior hockey for 2 hours every day, we would have a fraction of the viewers that we do. But when we talk about it a little bit, it works. And Daryl Robinson has written in 902-518-3033 on the Progressive Insurance text line. And he says, hey, guys, the junior hockey landscape is changing so fast. It is sad to see a legacy team leave, but I believe Warman will do a great job. Signed, Daryl Robinson, Director of Scouting, Canmore Eagles, Alberta Junior Hockey League. They're fine. I'm glad that I pointed out specifically Canmore on the program yesterday, in that a team that packs the barn. I don't know how they're doing in the standings. A lot of teams are okay, but Notre Dame wasn't. And unfortunately, there's some handful of people that are very affected by this, but largely most people don't care. He just sad to see a legacy team leave. Sooner you move on, the better. Easy to say, hard to do. We'll continue whatever this is when we come back for a mini overtime after this, live on Game Plus TV, streaming live and podcasting wherever the best podcast.
Welcome to the Create Space at IKS Media. Meetings, podcasts, studio. Whether you're here to collaborate or educate, our versatile meeting places, workspaces, and studios await. Your next big idea starts here. Make our space your space. The Create Space at IKS.
Canada's premier Junior A Hockey League deserves premier coverage, and at IKS Media, we have you covered for all things SJHL. SJHL Weekly on Monday, a live broadcast across our social media platforms where we interview your favorite players and coaches from across the league and preview the upcoming week. And on Thursday, SJHL Insider, where we look ahead to the weekend that will be and cover everything going on across the league. Catch it all on our social media platforms or on sjhl.ca.
I'm Bridget Lacquette. I'm a First Nation Olympic silver medalist, and I'm proud to represent Indigenous hockey players across Canada. Each year, hundreds of Canadians need a stem cell transplant from an unrelated donor to save their life. Anyone can have a hard time finding a stem cell match, but for Indigenous peoples, it can be even more difficult because just over 1% of prospective donors on Canada's stem cell registry are of Indigenous backgrounds. Be a hero. Join me in Hockey Gives Blood in helping to make a life-saving difference to those in need. Register today at blood.ca/beahero.
From cash spiels to grand slams, club competitions to world championships, there's a lot to keep up with on the pebbled ice. Stay up to date with the Hardline Curling Show, your weekly source for everything curling, with the latest event results, breaking news, interviews with players, executives, and insiders, plus behind-the-scenes access you won't get anywhere else. Follow us on Facebook, X, Instagram, and subscribe to our YouTube. Make sure you don't miss a thing.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
We back. It's a mini overtime, and for that reason, it'll be brought to you by Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary. That is the perfect place to go to perfect your shot. State-of-the-art equipment. Been there. Wide, spacious shooting lanes. Top-notch equipment. It's the ultimate training destination for players of all ages. Achieve your hockey goals at Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary. It's RP Show endorsed. My mind just got blown for a second. This will carry well over into hour 2. And then Ryan Rigmaiden will join us in segment 2 of hour 2, the GM of the BC Lions. Who's the guy that wrote, because there's a lot of good stuff that's coming here. Ken F. writes in, he's in Mississauga, and he says, overall, how important is this game in America? Here's the thing. Going in, up until 10 days ago, they didn't even know what this was. No clue. And you know what? I'll challenge a lot of Canadians that they probably didn't either. But it's been hyped like crazy. Super Bowl being over didn't hurt. Having that done, the NBA All-Star weekend being a flop also helped this. ESPN being the rights holder in America on television, and TNT pushing the hell out of it. It's all, and then the fights on Saturday night have all made this must-see TV. I can't imagine what the ratings are going to be tonight in America. And you weren't watching earlier, Ken, obviously, but I got a note today through our show. The New York Post is interviewing me for their web content on the game tonight. The New York Post. Interestingly enough, former Montreal Alouettes receiver Brandon London and Giants receiver runs their digital content. But the New York Post is now on this. They're interviewing me. And I'm kind of thinking, is there not anybody more interesting or important to interview? But you know what? I'll do it. I don't think they would normally do that. Everybody's getting swept up. I say it every day. I'm on the treadmills at LA Fitness. There's 4 big screen TVs up in front of the bank of the treadmills. Fox News, CNN, Fox Sports, ESPN, all of them. America, Canada, USA, and predictions and pundits, and it's a big deal. And you're going to see that when the ratings come out. John in Edmonton writes, and he says, Rod, what do you think of the comments on Twitter made by Theo Fleury about Justin Trudeau in tonight's game? What do I think? I don't care. What do you think? Theo said, hey, America, don't let Trudeau into your arena. That's what he said. Regarding robotic umpire. It's funny. Robotic umpires, Ted in Red Deer says, human error used to be an accepted part of officiating, but it appears that has changed. People want error-free refs because of the betting. In my opinion. Whatever it is, let's get it right. Regarding the MVP tonight, who will it be for the whole tournament? Connor Hellebuck, Sidney Crosby, Matthew Tkachuk, or other. Interesting, 0% voted for Matthew Tkachuk on Twitter. I feel like our viewers aren't huge Matthew Tkachuk fans, but the majority is voting for other. Navy Dawn says, Hella will be standing on his head tonight, but Canada will prevail. John Ohm writes in from Winnipeg on the umpire thing. He goes, you still need an umpire in MLB. He or she will have an ear set and will be told the call by a computer. Use technology wisely. What's the point? This is the part that I don't get any of it. And furthermore, I know for a fact the NHL is, well, we've seen it. What are we doing for timing here, guys? The NHL is promoting the fights. Don't we get out at 12:56:30, an hour one? So they're promoting the fighting from Saturday's game. But I don't have a, let's just be clear. Rod's a very confused guy. It's like Fred Flintstone, another confused, mixed up day in the mixed up life of poor mixed up Fred Flintstone. That's me. I thought all these guys were told, and gals, don't promote fighting by the NHL. And now here's them promoting it. Is it here? Yeah, did you just find out people love it? We'll talk about this and a whole lot more coming back after the break, okay?
Is that your boat?
Nah, I'm working on it. That's not mine. It's a friend's.
You have a bigger boat than that. Let me come down and ride.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Welcome to the Create Space at IKS Media. Meetings, podcasts, studio. Whether you're here to collaborate or educate, our versatile meeting places, workspaces, and studios await. Your next big idea starts here. Make our space your space. The Create Space at IKS.
IKS Game Day wishes to congratulate the City of Estevan and Affinity Place on their brand new center ice display. This state-of-the-art score clock features 5 LED faces with full motion graphics, scoring integration, and our new Halo mounting system. If it's time for an upgrade, let us show you how to deliver the best fan experience. You can find us at iksgameday.com.
The live sports experience is changing. Teams and facilities are under pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. IKS Live has the right team to deliver. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience, in the seats or streaming to you. IKS Live continues to bring you the best seat in the house.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Is that your boat?
Nah, I'm working on it. That's not mine. It's a friend's.
You have a bigger boat than that, huh? Let me come down and ride around on the boat with you. We could broadcast from the boat. You could do your show, I could do my show, and really there would be no reason for me to leave.
How about that?
Was that your boat in the clip? Are you doing your show from that?
You're the second guy to ask that today. I think that's not, but we're working on it.
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
Giving her, absolutely giving her on a Thursday, a very big day. Episode number 1438 of the RP Show is at hand here on Game Plus Television, Season 6. And it's quite interesting that some people are just discovering us now, which is totally fine. What arrogant of us to think we've only been around 6 years. You just found us. It is what it is, but welcome. Come on in. You might learn something here in this segment. I'm not joking. And in segment 2 of this hour, the general manager of the BC Lions, Ryan Rigmaiden, will be with us. And I'm very flattered that the BC Lions would put their general manager on the show. Big CFL guy here, big football guy here. And I love talking to me some CFL. Now, let's be honest. Biggest thing in hockey this year is tonight. Canada, USA, the Four Nations Face-Off Championship Final to be played in Boston. 1 hour ago on this show, we had Jersey Jim Behringer with us. live from TD Garden in Boston with a live report for the press box. There ain't no other show doing that I've seen. Not in Canada. Did I mention that we're on Game Plus and airing in 32 U.S. states, which include New Jersey because Jim's mom took photos of him on the screen. And yeah. Let's Colin in Ottawa's watching. We have viewers all over the world, but primarily Canada, 90% of them, and growing numbers in the States. Colin in Ottawa makes a really good point. He says, all the Gary Bettman haters must hate that this tournament has captured both Canada's and the USA's sports watching public. Gary isn't as bad a commissioner as Canadians think, in my opinion. That probably isn't necessarily the topic. Well, it's a good topic. Maybe not necessarily for today, but we spent 30 minutes on the game with Jim. We covered it all an hour ago. On the Bettman thing, I'm a fan, okay? Met him many years ago with my dad at the NHL draft in Buffalo in 1999. We were walking into the tradition. On the Friday night used to be an opening reception. The draft used to be all day Saturday. Gary stood on the steps of this hall, theater, convention center, and greeted guys as they walked in, and my dad and I stopped and talked to him for a long time. That was 1999. He's just a decent guy. Darren Fleury will tell you stories about how he was reinstated by Gary Bettman after cleaning his life up, turning his life around, getting sober. All those things. Gary reinstated him and said, I'm proud of you. For people like us in recovery, we're not used to hearing that from people. Usually we're used to people yelling at us. What's wrong with you? Gary Bettman was not that guy. I think he's done a great job. Bomber Boys watching in Calgary. He says it's just a running gag that Canadians blame Bettman for Canada's drought, whether it's warranted or not. I think they believe it. They think Gary Bettman is against Canada and is the biggest reason why there's been no Canadian champion since 1993, coincidentally the year that he got the job. Well, and here's another thing. Scott in Toronto watching, he says, see, this works really well when it's just me and you. We can do it just fine, as long as you do your end of the bargain and write in with the comments. Scott Ford in Toronto says, Gary Bettman is not the mastermind behind this tournament. There hasn't been best-on-best international play for 9 years. It wouldn't surprise me to see him take credit for it after the fact, however. Look, he's getting the credit, and I'm okay with it. And from everything that I see and what I've learned covering this team here in Florida for 4 years is Gary Bettman does have more power than anybody else. The owners don't run the league, unlike the CFL. But here's the thing. The NHL and Bettman got lucky in that they didn't know that Trump was going to go all off crazed and threaten the tariffs and threaten to annex Canada and piss off all the Canadians, which is, I had made a few notes here that I haven't even got to. The point on that stirred up national pride, especially in Canada. Now it's actually stirred up in the USA, too. I'll tell you the story. We went in to tape our Cats and Bolts podcast yesterday at a production studio here in Boca yesterday, a podcast studio. And the guys that were doing the show before us, they do a show called I Apologize in Advance. It's a couple of really loud, brash New Yorkers. And they're like, we're expecting 10 fights because if they had 3 fights in the last game in the round robin, this game means more. There'll be 10 fights. And we're like, no, not even close, bro. But we don't have time to explain to you hockey culture and how this goes. But they're going to be watching. Everybody's going to be watching. This country's going to be watching. 10.1 million people in North America watched that Canada-U.S. game last Saturday. It's going to be exponentially more tonight, I think. And this Trump thing is very, again, boo if you want, cheer if you want, do whatever you want. I don't know. I'm burnt out on this. I'm sure as hell not going to tell you how to act. Disappointed. And my U.S. friends, particularly U.S. people working in Canada, like the CFL coaches and players, were very disappointed. They felt it was disrespectful to them because they're like, what did we do? Why are you booing us? It's all about Trump. And it's too bad because leaders should not be creating division. I don't like Donald Trump. For some reason, people seem to think that I'm a Trump supporter. I am a right-wing thinker. I'm pro-business. I align with that. But I don't think he's a nice guy. I don't like what he's done here. I don't like the fear that he's instilled in Canada. It's ironic that this Canadian pride has been all given a shot in the arm, and it took Donald Trump to do it and the Kachuk brothers. I mean, think about that for a second. But that's a topic for another day. I saw a lady, one of our coaches' wives, former Rough Riders coaches' wives. She's in a hell of a fight with people on Facebook about the tariffs and the booing and the angst between the two countries. And I hate seeing it. People that were friends are now fighting. And she said, I feel like this is a bad breakup with Canada. And we had such a great experience there in our time in the CFL. She's down here in the southern U.S. And it just hurts to see this. And leaders shouldn't be creating division. Here's the thing. The good ones don't. And I'm sitting here trying to say every day, let's bring everybody together. Let's work together because we are all in this together. But it's a very rare, getting rarer perspective. I had a note. It's funny, when Jim was with us an hour ago, I said, is it going to be a letdown going back to covering the NHL regular season after this? And he admitted yes, which I thought was kind of funny. It might be. Just stopping for a second here. Rich in Edmonton writes in. He says, Gary Bettman was instrumental in keeping the Oilers in Edmonton and getting the incredible ice district built. Rich goes on to say, here, Rod. Couldn't say it better myself. Thank you. I'll say it again. Good leaders don't create division. And this isn't anything that I dreamt up. I've seen it with my own eyes. It doesn't matter if it's a football team, a radio station, a church, a country. It doesn't matter. It's all the same. Somebody who's deliberately creating division amongst the people is not a good leader, and it's not a recipe for success. I've seen it both ways, and I've yet to ever see it work the other way. That somebody creating division with that narcissistic personality being successful, not over the long haul. It doesn't work, but I'm a lone voice in that. But I made a note. Oh, here's another one. Tim from Vegas writes in. He says, this is one of the greatest days that I've ever been alive for. Americans have now caught up. I've lived in U.S. more than half my life now, but I still love being Canadian more than I love air. And that's why I'm cheering for Canada, and I'm on record as saying I always will for as long as I draw a breath. And I don't think people largely have a problem with that. I really don't think they do. For what hockey team you cheer for who you vote for, that's a whole other conversation, but I don't get into the political realm. But I was thinking about, in my time, controversial events around games, because I've broadcast some really big ones. We had, and this didn't really, I'll never forget the year. It's funny how this all ties in. Mike Lang passed away, and I meant to ask Jersey Jim about it this last hour, and we ran out of time. Mike Lang was the legendary voice of the Pittsburgh Penguins. You talk to anybody from Pittsburgh, he is the Penguins. He was the guy with a scratch my back with a hacksaw and get in the fast lane, Granny the bingo, games ready to roll. All this legendary calls. He was the first guy to do that. Legend, Mike Lang. And he was in the movie Sudden Death, whatever year it was. I want to say it was 1997, maybe 96, where somebody, there was a bomb threat at a Penguins game. Did you all watch that movie? Jean-Claude Van Damme, the muscles from Brussels, was in it. And Mike Lang was a cameo broadcasting the games for the Penguins. But so I was we were in the middle of a playoff series. And unbeknownst to anybody, there was a bomb threat called into our arena where we were playing. And the only reason I knew was this. We were in the middle of a playoff series and came in for the morning skate. I was the voice of the team. And it was the Agrodome, Clark, if you care. You'd have been in grade 1, Clark, about that. Kindergarten, grade 1 when this happened. And there's a security guy sitting in a chair at the front of the Agrodome. Or the players' entrance. You all know, with the south side of the rink, we all go in. And the guy's like, like, if you didn't know me back then, I breezed by him, didn't even know that he was there. Thinking about something, I'm sure. And the guy, hey, where are you going? Going down to watch the morning skate like I always do. Guy's like, you got any ID? For what? course, I was 22. I wasn't carrying ID. Why would I need ID? The guy's like, you're not getting in here without ID. And I'm like, why? For the first time in my life, you're not letting people in here because of what? It was a different world, gentlemen, boys and girls. Prior to 9/11, you could go anywhere without ID, without anything. It was great. You could fly without ID, for the love of God. You could. Certainly without a passport. But anyways, thank God I live 5 minutes from the rink, so I went home and got my ID, came back, and he let me in. No big deal. And then I get into the rink. I'm like, what the hell's going on up at the entrance? And they're like, coaches were like, a bomb scare got called in. A bomb threat got called in last night. I'm like, what? In the middle of the game. And I'm like, did anybody want to let me know, the broadcaster? If you know the configuration of the, and by the way, I'm not saying, obviously, that's not going to happen tonight in Boston. I'm saying this is just one incident of a big, weird thing that happened in a game that I was involved in. And I'm like, if you look at any rink, let alone that rink, the very last person to get out of the arena would have been me and Al Dumba. That's, I think, the biggest one that I can think of. And it was actually a string of threats being called in around the league. It was a very scary time. All because of that damn movie. Arlen Bruce checks in. You're right on time, AB. Two-time Grey Cup champion. He says, great morning, RP. I became an NHL fan in 2022. I'm looking forward to the game tonight. Canada versus USA. Enjoy both anthems. I really enjoy the Canadian anthem because my name is in the song. Our land. It's not your name, Arland. But I see what you did there. Bomber Boy writes in, he says, Van Damme played goalie in that movie. Yeah, and not well. Tim Tisdale was in that movie, as a matter of fact. The hero of the 1989 Memorial Cup for the Swift Current Broncos. I'll tell you what, did my phone blow up after talking junior hockey yesterday, just for a snippet, like 3 minutes. They're all watching. And interesting, too, that interview with Theron, I'm going to post that this afternoon, the whole interview. The guys, thanks for putting that on YouTube, cutting it specifically, because, man, was it good. I was with a Panthers alumni yesterday, and the guy was like, you know, if Theo would stop talking about politics, he'd be in the Hall of Fame. I'm like, I don't think he can stop talking about politics. But in that interview, when I said, what do you think the pregame speech will be? Theo's like, what are you going to say? If you can't get up for Canada, USA. And he was right. But he said, Pat Quinn in 2002 said, be yourselves. And I'll never forget doing a banquet with Jennifer Botterill, and she told the story of, I think it was 98 Olympics, women's hockey, Canada, USA. Before the game, Steve Yzerman came in from the men's team and said 2 words, trust yourselves. Turned around, walked out. Canada went out and whomped on them. So, yeah, and by the way, Jeff the Stamps fan wrote in here and said, will Trump be tweeting about the game? He says, this is the greatest. He said this is the biggest hockey game ever. It's not. But we've been talking about that all week. Don't matter. Let's just enjoy the game. Glenn is watching in Medicine Hat. He says, why don't boisterous Canadians and Americans take their electorates to task? Goodness, they've elected Trudeau and Trump. It's laughable. Right? Ryan Rigmaiden of the BC Lions joins us next. Can't wait for this. Stick around, everybody. We're live on Game Plus Television, streaming live and podcasting wherever the best podcasts are found.
Sports experience is changing. Teams and facilities are under pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. IKS Live has the right team to deliver. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience, in the seats or streaming to you. IKS Live continues to bring you the best seat in the house.
902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
From cash spiels to Grand Slams, club competitions to world championships, there's a lot to keep up with on the pebbled ice. Stay up to date with the Hardline Curling Show, your weekly source for everything curling, with the latest event results, breaking news, interviews with players, executives, and insiders, plus behind-the-scenes access you won't get anywhere else. Follow us on Facebook, X, Instagram, and subscribe to our YouTube. Make sure you don't miss a thing.
Canada's premier Junior A Hockey League deserves premier coverage, and at IKS Media, we have you covered for all things SJHL. SJHL Weekly on Monday, a live broadcast across our social media platforms where we interview your favorite players and coaches from across the league and preview the upcoming week. And on Thursday, SJHL Insider, where we look ahead to the weekend that will be and cover everything going on across the league. Catch it all on our social media platforms or on sjhl.ca.
Sounds like he knows what he's doing a little bit. As long as you're entertained. Aren't you entertained?
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
It is Canada's favorite daytime sports talk show, but in the winter, broadcasting, as you see, from Highland Beach, Florida, where they love football, they love the CFL, and tonight they love hockey, and we'll be talking about that more later on in the program. But we're big CFL fans here and very pleased to have the BC Lions putting their general manager, Ryan Rigmaiden, on, the 17th general manager in BC Lions history, so named on November 20th, 2024. Ryan Rigmaiden, welcome to the RP Show, sir. How are you today?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm good, Ryan. Look, I'm going to just only one curveball I'm going to throw you. You're from Spokane. You got a home in North Carolina. But are you following Canada-USA hockey tonight?
8 p.m. tonight. I'll be watching.
Yes, you are. Okay, well, I will not ask you who you're cheering for. That's okay. I'm on record as saying Canada, but I don't want to cause any problems here. I'll say this, man. General manager of the BC Lions. I've heard your name for a long time in CFL circles. I worked in the league a long time. I've never had a chance to interview you ever. So I want to say congratulations on that. This is the biggest job of your career. How's it been 3 months into it?
Yeah, it's been surreal at first, but exciting and something I've worked for my entire life. So, with the process of hiring Buck Pierce and Neil McAvoy going to the VP job, it's been amazing. It's been amazing.
You know, we should probably back this up. But again, you'd have to be a real deep, hardcore CFL fan to know Ryan's name. Like, I knew that you had interviewed for various GM jobs in the past and were real close, but you finally nailed that BC job. You'd been on the staff, and you were kind of thrown into the pressure cooker, right? Like, it's pro football. It's going to be pressure no matter where you are. But can you tell our viewers just a little bit about yourself? Because it's a pretty intriguing story. I'm impressed, man.
No, I appreciate it. Yeah, born and raised in Spokane, Washington. Started scouting in the Arena League for my hometown team, the Spokane Shock. Fortunately, we had tremendous success there. We had a long history of getting our players up to the next level, which was the CFL and the NFL. I started doing regional scouting for BC, I believe, in 2011, and then took over the director job when Roy Shivers retired. And so was working with Wally and Neil day to day. So worked my way up. Got the assistant GM job there a few years ago. And then when this opportunity came up to be in the GM chair, it's just something that I couldn't pass up. So, as a scout, you're always hoping to be a GM, and you kind of wonder where that's going to be. I honestly never thought it would be in BC because there were so many qualified guys there, and I went to Winnipeg for a few years, and you do all these interviews. You just never know where it's going to happen, and so to have it happen for your hometown team in Vancouver is just amazing.
Oh, for sure. And won a Grey Cup with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers in 2019. So I can say this. You wouldn't say anything bad about the Blue Bombers, I'm sure. If there is a blueprint of how to run an organization in a culture, it would be the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, man. I'm so damn just excited watching. Now, you guys are going to beat them this year. I know that. But you had good times at Winnipeg.
Yeah. And as again, somebody I was with BC for, I believe, 8 years at the time. I think it's always valuable for a scout or, frankly, any position, coach, support staff, whatever it's going to be, to leave home, get into another team's culture, learn how they do it. I had tremendous colleagues in Winnipeg that I learned from. Mike O'Shea, obviously, Ted Gavaya now, who's the GM, well-deserved in Hamilton. Danny McManus, who's an unbelievable Hall of Fame player and a tremendous scout. The work he's done in Winnipeg has been great. So I learned a ton there in Winnipeg, have nothing but respect for them. And yeah, when you go to 5 Grey Cups in a row, it's hard to not be envious of what they've done. And you got to look at what they've done and see if it's something that you can incorporate for yourself.
Well, and for me, I think the key for them is they're all good guys. I feel like you got to have good people to win. Call me crazy. And I think that is, well, clearly you do too, because you named Buck Pierce your head coach. Tab Nathan Rourke as the guy. But I want to ask you, what did you know about Buck? Had you known him long time, or like what made you know so certain that this is the guy I want leading this team, because it is his first opportunity as a head coach?
Yeah, well, let me first agree with you. Good people build good culture, right? And so you try to surround yourself with as many good people in the program as you possibly can. I was in Winnipeg from 18 to 20, and Buck was the running back coach then. So to say I worked hand in hand with him would not be accurate, but I certainly was on the field with him. I saw how he ran a room. I saw how he led his group of guys. And so as our careers have both been going vertically as they do, you pay attention and you build friendships and you build relationships. You also talk to the opposition. Hey, who gives you trouble? And Buck Pierce, that guy's really good. And so you have an idea of who these guys are character-wise and leadership-wise, but you also never know until you can get them in the room and interview them. And so we did a grueling section of interviews. We did a first round of Zoom interviews for the coach and staff, and then we brought in the final 3 candidates. And Buck just hit it out of the park. He was absolutely tremendous. We believe that his collaborative effort with the quarterback is going to be something that helps take Nathan to the next level. So incredibly proud to have him and very excited to get on the field.
As a football guy, let me ask you this. How important is it that he was a quarterback in leading Nathan Rourke? You can't tell me it didn't help Dave Dickinson in Calgary and John Huffnagel in Calgary. I just think there's something to that, and clearly you do too.
Yeah, you're exactly right. We wanted to find the best leader possible. But if I'm being totally honest, philosophically, I wanted an offensive guy. And I'll tell you why. In our league, if you're a great offensive coordinator, you're going to be the next head coach somewhere. And so when you're building a team and continuity is important to us in our building, it's, hey, if we can get the best leader that also happens to have a great relationship with quarterbacks and he's going to be the play caller, that's the icing on the cake. So you don't want to have a system set up to where your head coach is constantly losing his offensive coordinator because now you've got to rebuild and now you have to have all your players in a new system. So if you can have continuity there and great leadership, it's the best of both worlds, and that certainly didn't hurt Buck.
With Nathan, I had never been around him personally until Grey Cup this year. I've interviewed him a few times on this show, but I can kind of see why now, after being around him at the Grey Cup and at the Athletes in Action breakfast on the Saturday morning, that you guys feel he is all that. And the guy that you want leading your team. What do people need to know about Nathan Rourke, the person, which they don't necessarily care about as much about? They want to see wins, but we've seen that too. How's Nathan's mindset going into this season? Because he's been through so much.
Yeah, it's a great question. So, first of all, I think everybody knows just unmatched work ethic and character, right? And so this guy just eats football every day. This guy never stops. At the end of last year, when we had our exit meetings, my friend advice to Nathan was, Nathan, please go to a beach somewhere and just turn your phone off, put the football down, enjoy your family, just take a little break and decompress for everything that he's gone through. And he sat there for about a half a second and kind of smiled and he said, Riggs, I have to throw. And so I said, okay, well, do what you need to do, but just be sure and decompress. But I'll tell you a quick story. I was just back in Vancouver a couple weeks ago. We had some crazy weather come in. Vancouver, usually when the snow comes in, it doesn't stick for very long. Well, it did. There was a couple inches of snow on the ground. There was some ice. I pull up to the building, 8:15, 8:30, walking in. I see Buck. Buck and I are walking in. He goes, hey, that's Nathan out there on the field shoveling the field to get a place for him and Javon Cattell to throw. So this guy's out there at 8 a.m. on a Tuesday, shoveling a 50-yard section of the field so that he could throw. I think they were throwing 2 routes and just perfecting those routes in the corner of the end zone. So the kid is tremendous. Work ethic is amazing. Obviously, his superpower has been his ability to process on the field and just get the ball out and know what defenses are doing. But I think Canada is going to start warming up to the person that he is. He's funny. He's kind of witty. He's goofy. He's a tremendous leader. The sky's the limit for him, and we couldn't be more happy to have him as our quarterback.
What you're telling me is he's obsessed, which all the good ones are. Don't hold this against me. I'm asking you a question from Scott Ford in Toronto. It can be a fun one if you take it that way. He says, Rod, can you please ask Ryan how he feels about 3 Down Nation ranking BC last in their power ranking?
Believe me, I'm not offended. I haven't seen that article. To be honest, I don't pay too much attention to that kind of stuff. Look, I get it. I guess if somebody were to say, hey, there's been a lot of change here, I can understand that. But I'll remind everybody, a few years ago, before anybody knew who Nathan was, I think we were ranked pretty low as well. And we felt extremely good with this roster. So we feel like we've gotten better over the last few weeks with free agency. We've got a tremendous new coach that's got a history of winning and motivating and setting high expectations. So we feel extremely good.
As a personnel guy, you could knock this one out of the park. Ted in Red Deer would like to know, hey, Ryan, when evaluating linemen, how important is arm length as compared to the other variables?
It's huge. It's huge. So just the physical reality of that position is if I've got 34 or 35-inch arms and the other guy has 32-inch arms, I've got an advantage. It's no different than if you watch a boxing match, you're going to see their reach in inches, right? So that length is important. We had a tremendous player here, Javon Olafayole, that played forever. He's also done some scouting with us. A tremendous player and even better person. Javon, I think, was about 6'2.5", 6'3", so he wasn't that typical 6'6", but he had really long arms and he was a terrific athlete. And so if you've got that length, you can overcome a lot. And I haven't met a single offensive line coach in all my years of doing this that didn't preach length, give me length.
Let me ask you this as we get close to wrapping this up. One thing that really impressed me in all my years in the CFL is how the Lions are such a provincial team, very similar to the Rough Riders, man. They love the Lions in Prince George, Dawson Creek, Kamloops, Kelowna. What does it mean to you to be the general manager of that team that province loves so much?
Oh, it's everything to me. It's been a lifelong dream for me to be in this chair, but also in this team with that's got tremendous provincial support. We've got a tremendous owner who believes in everything we do. He gives us the resources to go out and win. He doesn't meddle. He wants to win. This guy's been a lifelong BC Lions fan, and so for me to be in this building with tremendous leaders like Dwayne Vanneau and Neil McAvoy and obviously Mar, it means everything to me. You want to be in a building where there's good people, there's good culture. You can count on everybody. Everybody's got your back. But for the fans of the BC Lions, you could see it at our games. That the momentum is growing, and I've been in that building where the attendance wasn't what it was in the last few years. Now it's better and better all the time. I think it certainly helps that over the last couple of years we had the two 12-win seasons, and we're trending up. So it means everything to me. I know it means everything to everybody in the building to have such great fan support.
Well, my last question is, you want to play in a stadium where it means something, and you're getting 40,000 now to games. And what's cool to me, Ryan, is that I heard and saw the people say, it'll never come back. It'll never come back like what it was. And it's coming back. And I don't know who's responsible for that. I have a feeling it's Amar, but I'm not inside. I don't really know. What I see, I like.
Sure.
And I feel like you guys going to be filling that place this year. What do you think?
Yeah, that's the idea, and again, that's the direction we're heading. So, Amar's our leader; he's our owner. He needs to get most of the credit. But again, there's so many people in our building that do such a good job to make that thing happen. And as largely a lifelong BC Lions fan and employee, being there to watch that thing grow into what it used to be, and to have the fans come back and have exciting winning seasons is everything to us. So we're going to do what we can with the product on the field and be as competitive as possible. We do everything we can to win. I know the business side of things with Amar and Dwayne and Carolyn Cody, they're going to do tremendous things to get fans in the seats and make it the most amazing atmosphere that can possibly happen in the CFL.
CFL NFL veteran Brandon London is watching right now, former New York Giant, Super Bowl winning receiver, former Alouette. Brandon says, when I played for Montreal, I always told myself that if Jim Pop was going to trade me, I hope it was to BC. Yes, it is a preferred destination for sure. Hey, Ryan, as a Spokane guy, what's your favorite restaurant? I was in the Western Hockey League for 20 years, called games in the old Boone Street Barn. Did you ever go to games in there? Are you old enough to have gone to games in the Boone Street Barn, Spokane, the old arena?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I was just telling, we went to a Canucks game a couple of weeks ago, and it was getting a little spicy. And I was telling some of our colleagues there, and I was telling Buck, I said, man, we had some epic battles at Spokane with the Spokane Chiefs. So yeah, no, tremendous place to live. Like I said, born and raised there, love Spokane. My parents still live there, and I try to get back every time I can.
It is a wonderful city, the Lilac City. Ryan, thank you so much for this, man. Good luck, and hopefully we chat down the road.
My pleasure. Thanks, Rod.
The 17th general manager in the history of the BC Lions, Ryan Rigmaiden. And the CFL players have come to talk, and NFL as well. B-Low, Arlen Bruce dropped in earlier. He misguidedly thinks his name is in the Canadian national anthem. Let's let him believe. And here we are again, me and you the rest of the way to the top of the hour. Tonight, Canada, USA, Four Nations Face-Off Final. Beginning today, Major League Baseball using robotic umpires in games for spring training. What do you think about that? We've got sports updates to get to. Yeah, we got lots. We'll be right back here on Game Plus TV, streaming live and podcasting wherever the best podcasts are found.
Sounds like he knows what he's doing a little bit. As long as you're entertained, Aren't you entertained?
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Did you know that you can help save a life? And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients, yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
Canada's premier Junior A Hockey League deserves premier coverage, and at IKS Media, we have you covered for all things SJHL. SJHL Weekly on Monday, a live broadcast across our social media platforms where we interview your favorite players and coaches from across the league and preview the upcoming week. And on Thursday, SJHL Insider, where we look ahead to the weekend that will be and cover everything going on across the league. Catch it all on our social media platforms or on sjhl.ca.
Welcome to the Create Space at IKS Media. Meetings, podcasts, studio. Whether you're here to collaborate or educate, our versatile meeting places, workspaces, and studios await. Your next big idea starts here. Make our space your space. The Create Space at IKS.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
RP show continues on a Thursday, a very big day. Hour 2 brought to you by Clear Water, Clear Choice. Culligan Water, filter out the bad and taste the good. Culligan Water of Regina. Check them out at culliganregina.com. I know Saskatchewan and Regina have long been our #1 regions for viewership. I'm going to tell you, those other Western Canadian provinces are shooting up. And U.S. as well, they told me, which I don't know why. I think it's just because of we're just different from everybody else. Different is good. Regarding the big game tonight, Canada-USA, Tony from Cockburn, Alberta, writes in. He says, I don't know if it's Trump or what, but I don't ever remember feeling more Canadian than I do today. Wearing my Team Canada jersey all day. Go Canada. Win the fights and the game. There will be no fights. I'm willing to bet you right now there will be no fights tonight, not one. Just sifting through the rubble of the comments here. The Progressive Insurance text line is always open, 902-518-3033. Talk about Mike Lang passing away at the age of 76, the legendary voice of the Pittsburgh Penguins. Where did I see this? I think it was NHL radio. I was listening to it today, and they said that Mike Lang called games for 46 years for the Penguins, and I was rattling off some of his lines. Darcy in Grand Prairie, Alberta writes in. He says, didn't Mike Lang come up with the term, he beat him like a rented mule? I think that phrase was discontinued Pretty sure of that.
Spicy.
I'll guarantee you it wouldn't stand today. It was a great line. We used to say that. Playing road hockey, playing shinny. He beat him like a rented mule. Because if you walk it back and actually think about it, that's not a good thing. I would be in favor of banning that phrase. He had so many other great ones. Scratch my back with a hacksaw. Buy Sam a drink and get his dog one too. There were a lot. He was like the original of that, which I'll tell you something. I was thinking about this morning. Jogging away at LA Fitness as Scott Laughlin was talking about Mike Lang on the radio and those legendary calls. Peter Marr in Calgary. Yeah, baby. I had legendary calls with the Rough Riders. Trust me, I did. That we replayed ad nauseum. But when I left, after being fired, they erased them all. But don't worry, I'm over it. They don't air them anymore. But in Tampa Bay, not only does Gene Deckerhoff, is it Gene Deckerhoff or Gene Deckerhay? One of the two, the voice of the Buccaneers. Not only does he have legendary calls, they have them painted on the side of the stadium. Fire the cannons. Raise the flags. I think it's Gene Deckerhay. I could look it up real fast, but I'm lazy. Somebody else want to do it? And largely these days, they don't want your broadcaster to have any personality. That's what I see. Nobody's above the team. I have no idea how or hell this came up that they're writing in and talking about crack cocaine and Dennis Miller. Yeah. Scott, take a break.
No.
Bomber Boy writes in and says, Kachuk versus Doughty will happen. Oh, which Kachuk? Yeah. Keep it here for the real deal. That's why you're here. Somebody sent me a reel the other day on Instagram about how a bunch of Canadians in Detroit were going to sports bars and none of them had the game on. And I'm like, they don't care about this in the States. Why do you need to be that guy? I'll tell you what, I owned a bar restaurant in Canada. I'll tell you, there will be bars and restaurants in Canada that don't know this game is going on tonight. So why would you point it out and try and make America look bad? Why do that? 10.1 million people watched the Canada-U.S. game last Saturday night. It's going to be exponentially more than that tonight. So if some bars don't want to have it on, that's a them problem. Why point it out? I'm quite excited that 15 minutes after our show ends today, I'll be interviewed by the New York Post for their digital content about the game tonight. And it's kind of shocking. It's kind of a big deal to me to be interviewed by the New York Post. Because as I said to Jimmy Behringer, if you can make it there, you can make it anywhere. New York. I don't want to get too far down that rabbit hole, but people are into this here in South Florida. U.S. hockey fan. None of them are upset that I'm cheering for Canada. They get it. A lot of them are New Yorkers who cheer for the Giants and the Rangers and the Yankees. You got to cheer for where you're from, right? I also think Canada will win. I think it'll be a one-goal game. Ron in Calgary writes in and says, if Sid the Kid gets one or more points and Canada wins, it's an easy decision for MVP. If anybody's surprised that Sidney Crosby's been one of the best players for Canada, you haven't been watching the games this year. He's been the Penguins' best player all year long. What is he, 37? Not slowing down. He's been playing possessed all year. And no, he's not going to be traded. Doesn't look like he'll end his career anywhere else. But it's not like you get tired of winning. That's the one thing people don't understand. I mean, maybe some guys do, and gals. But I'll never forget the video of Boys on the Bus. Remember that documentary, Kevin Lowe saying, once you're in the Stanley Cup every year, the final, you believe you own it, right? You don't get tired of winning. So I don't know how anybody could be surprised that Sidney Crosby has been this good. Regarding the robotic umpires, Freddie in Winnipeg writes in and he says, I am for a baseball game being called by whatever speeds up the game and not being called by Angel Hernandez. He was the worst ever. Glad he's gone. Just going to say, he's gone. He's kind of the bad example. How many NHL referees can you name besides Wes Magali? Not too many. Which we have to take a break here, but listen, I said I'm for the robotic umpires for really one reason only, to stop the bitching of the players and managers and, by extension, the fans. I was so tired of it this summer. I just hate bitching. Darren says I complain about complaining. And then, of course, the umpires will be mad at me. Oh, you're trying to get us out of a job. I don't know. I guess. Somebody wrote in here and said, oh, well, one day the RP show will be AI. The AI RP show. Yeah, no. That won't happen, bro. There's only one. And you're watching him. Scott writes in from Estevan. He says, the beef eater, the beef will have it on, I bet, in Estevan. Well, we'll have to check with our guy, Jeff Pedersen, the hotelier to the stars. Overtime is next, whatever you want. We'll be right back here on Game Plus Television, streaming live and podcasting wherever the best podcast.
From cash spiels to Grand Slams, club competitions to world championships, there's a lot to keep up with on the pebbled ice. Stay up to date with the Hardline Curling Show, your weekly source for everything curling, with the latest event results, breaking news, interviews with players, executives, and insiders, plus behind-the-scenes access you won't get anywhere else. Follow us on Facebook, X, Instagram, and subscribe to our YouTube. Make sure you don't miss a thing.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Sounds like he knows what he's doing a little bit. As long as you're entertained. Aren't you entertained?
Welcome to the Create Space at IKS Media. Meetings, podcasts, studio. Whether you're here to collaborate or educate, our versatile meeting places, workspaces, and studios await. Your next big idea starts here. Make our space your space. The Create Space at IKS.
Hi, my name's Logan Stankoven. And I'm Connor Bedard. We're both Hockey Gives Blood player ambassadors and proud to be blood donors. There are thousands of patients each year in Canada that rely on a generous stranger to save their life. Please book an appointment today to donate blood at blood.ca/HGB.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
A beautiful day here, but talking hockey in paradise. And this is Overtime, brought to you by Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary. Achieve your hockey goals at Overtime Hockey Lanes, where skill and fun collide. You should know by now, state-of-the-art shooting lanes, top-notch equipment, obviously radar guns, puck shooting machines. Can you believe that? Shootout contests. It's an amusement park for hockey players. I'm here to tell you that. Check out their website at overtimehl.ca or their social media, OvertimeHL. OT Hockey Lanes, actually, on Instagram. 28th Street Northeast, Calgary. I'll tell you, this has been fun to watch. I'm going to tell you a few things here. You hardcore P1s that watch every day will not be surprised by this, but I didn't want to be in Boston or Montreal. We can't be everywhere. I went to Grey Cup this year in Vancouver, and it was a blast. Went to Super Bowl in Vegas last year. It was a blast. You can't be everywhere. And it's worked out real good. I was quite happy to be able to go over to Florida Gulf Coast University on Tuesday and watch Indiana State there and Carter Beck, the star of the Western Canadian Baseball League. That's what I want to do. I don't really want to leave Florida. So, you know, traveling's behind me. And I like being able to work with all the leagues at all the levels. And I like being the guy that the players and the parents can reach out to and say, hey, you want to come to our game? Want to talk to the team? Want to do some stuff with us? Yeah, I'm open for business. I like that. What was my point? I'm not sure. I don't think I had one. Bomber Boy writes in, he says, landing the plane. Here we go. How this hockey tournament went from nobody in the States at all having any idea what it was, and trust me, they didn't. I go to these Panthers games, and I'm sitting talking to fans. You know me. I like that. I like to talk to the fans. What do you think of the Four Nations face-off? The what? That was just a couple of weeks ago. Fast forward to every network's talking about it. The NHL's promoting the fights and putting the highlights in their Instagram. I don't get it, but I'm here for it. I don't understand it. I've been told don't promote the fights. I know the staff of the teams have been told don't promote the fight. And now they're promoting the fights. That's whatever. Are we going back? Does this mean we were right all along? The pro fighting crowd? Just go with it. Bomber Boy says, hey, Rod, will Clark be providing sound effects when you do your New York Post interview? Hell yeah. No, probably not. And, hell yes.
Bob's your uncle.
I'm pretty excited to be interviewed by the New York Post. That's a first. Shortly after this show. And then I just got a message from Global Toronto. I don't want to say who from there. You would know who it is probably. I don't want to out the guy. They want to do an interview on the afternoon of the game. I'm like, yeah, sure. But I just find it, all of a sudden, it's the thing. It's this wave. And I only know sports. I think the politicos try to get the wave in politics, too, at the time of the election and time it right to win the election. Here, you didn't know that Trump was going to go all goofy. The odds would say that he was going to at some point, but you didn't know he was going to do it right at Four Nations face-off time. And then the fights and it's just all great. It's all great. Just happy to be alive for it. Let me do a quick sports update here. We got a few things. The NFL salary cap will be between $277.5 and $281.5 million for this season, rising as much as $26 million from last year. The bump is great news for Cincinnati, which is hoping to sign receiver T. Higgins to a long-term contract. It also means more money for Minnesota to re-sign quarterback Sam Darnold, or Kansas City to bring back guard Trey Smith, or Super Bowl champion Philadelphia to keep linebacker Zach Bond. It's also significant for teams projected to be over the cap when the new league year begins in March. In baseball, Aaron Boone and the Yankees have agreed to a 2-year contract extension through the 2027 season. Boone is entering his 8th season as manager. The team had exercised his 2025 option in November. That is a Heavy Gym sports update. Heavy Gym isn't just about lifting weights. It's about lifting your spirit, your strength, and your potential. Step into the gym that's changing lives. Find out more at heavygym.ca. Also, RP Show endorsed. From the text line, the Progressive Insurance text line, 902-518-3033, Mark writes in Yorkton, he says, hey, Rod, love the show. What's your take? Bennington is still 88-1 as tourney MVP. He'll have started all the games. If he stands on his head and they win like 1-0, he could steal it. Thoughts? Yeah, you're saying he's a long shot to be tourney MVP. Yeah, well, we can't say who any of the players will be until after tonight's game. Whoever's the best player, the first star of tonight's game will probably be the tourney MVP. The odds are Sid and not Bennington, but we'll see. Bill Dalby in Brantford writes in regarding Mike Lang. He says, smiling like a butcher's dog was a favorite of Mike Lang, too. Yeah, and I still use that one. Smiling like a butcher's dog. Brady in Saskatoon says, hey, Rod, goaltending will ultimately decide who wins the Four Nations Cup tonight. Binner will need to show up and show out. Absolutely. Laverne in Swift Current wrote in with a bunch of stats. Don't have time for that. Kirk in Toronto writes in, he says, hey, Rod, it's a beautiful sunny day with 2 feet of snow and the big smoke today. And hope the boys can prevail tonight in Boston. Go Canada. Laverne says, since 1976, all-time record, Canada 14-5-1 against the USA. Right, but here's the thing. It could all change tonight. That's what's on the line. Enjoy it, everybody. We'll see you back here tomorrow to talk about it. Noon Eastern.
Let's make some noise!